There's so many smart contract chains on the market at the moment that to really sell your platform, you either need a unique selling point or a transactional throughput that other chains just can't achieve. And Fantom seems to offer both of these things as reasons that you should use their platform. So stick around and let's talk about it. Hey guys, I'm Sprague, and a chain I've been hearing a lot of buzz around lately is Fantom. While most in the retail space are waiting for Cardano to finally release smart contracts, it seems that a sleeper chain that's been picking up quite a lot of institutional support is actually Fantom. Despite having a market cap of only $1 billion, which is 300 times less than that of Ethereum, there's already 10,000 smart contracts deployed on the network and over 300,000 transactions a day. So while it seems like those in the retail space are still relatively unaware of what Fantom can do, the same cannot be said for that of the B2B space. So what's pushing all of these companies to start building on such a small and less well-known chain? Fantom was initially proposed to be the blockchain that would power smart cities, the logical conclusion to this recent push to get everything onto the Internet of Things. However, this end goal was more aligned with the 2017-2018 thinking that the best logical use for cryptos was device-to-device communication, which is why coins like IOTA did so well in the last bull run. But as DeFi started to push into the forefront of crypto, it became very obvious that actually cryptocurrency's best use was providing a decentralized platform for the traditional finance sector to move onto. And as such, Fantom pivoted into this space. And this made perfect sense, because the same goals that they set out to achieve in powering smart cities, namely solving the blockchain trilemma, are also very prevalent problems that need to be solved in the DeFi space. On top of this, Fantom had already designed a consensus mechanism for their network that didn't require block leaders, which at the time they published their white papers, block leaders were actually still fairly widely accepted as being a valid solution. However, now they are seen as a negative aspect towards security and scalability, which just shows that Fantom were thinking really far ahead in their approach to designing a chain. Founded by An Byung-ik, but later taken over by Michael Kong, who is still currently the acting CEO. The first draft of the Fantom white paper was released in 2018 and details how they are going to use their chain to power the communication between varying industries. However, at the point that Fantom pivoted into the DeFi space, they bought on Andrew Cronch, who is a very well-known and respected figure within the DeFi and general crypto community, and is the developer and creator of Yearn Finance and also one of the founders behind SushiSwap. Andre was a core part of the team in developing the first versions of Fantom and implementing the consensus mechanism. However, now he is a consultant to the Fantom Foundation, allowing them to still access his wealth of knowledge in the DeFi space. This is probably the best outcome for Fantom, because Andre has on multiple occasions stated his frustration with what the DeFi community has become and said that he wants to get away from it all. And in his doing so, this arrangement would mean he would have little to no effect on Fantom's future. In terms of unique selling points for Fantom, because Michael Kong was one of the first people to create a working decompiler for the Solidity programming language that the EVM uses, Ethereum smart contracts written in Solidity can be deployed directly to Fantom with no shim required. This is a major benefit, because there will never just be a single smart contract chain, despite what anyone that uses the words Ethereum killer would have you believe. So allowing developers to deploy their applications across multiple chains with absolutely no extra work required is huge. Along with this, Fantom also echoes the claim of having solved the blockchain trilemma. And to be honest, after a lot of digging, I can only really find one problematic part of this statement. But before we get into how they've actually achieved this, if you like the video, please consider leaving me a like down below. And if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing. Thanks. As I mentioned earlier, Fantom uses a leaderless consensus mechanism called Lachesis, which is used to process and secure transactions. Lachesis is an implementation of a Byzantine fault-tolerant protocol that's asynchronous. This means that not only can it continue to operate at full capacity even if 1/3 of the network are acting maliciously, but it also does so asynchronously, meaning different transactions are being verified at different times and allowing for near instant transaction finality. While the white paper does boast a prospective 300,000 transactions per second, this does seem fairly inflated compared to what the Opera mainnet can actually achieve. However, Fantom is still one of the fastest chains on the market, achieving thousands of transactions per second. Each node on the Fantom network contains a DAG, and for a brief refresher on how DAGs work, check out my nano video up here. These DAGs are made up of blocks of transactions. These transactions are put into an order of events that is created by using event data from preceding transactions. This is done independently on every single node. Whereas in leader-based consensus mechanisms, a block is created by a leader and then voted on by all of the other validator nodes, in Lachesis, instead, events are used to verify previous events. This means the network traffic and time lost to latency issues is drastically reduced because there's no back and forth on the voting. Instead, there is just sharing of events that in turn validate previous events. To optimize the retrieval time and storage of certain sets of events within a DAG, each DAG is actually split up into several smaller DAGs named epochs. These epochs are essentially finalized and ratified orders of events, and as such, any new event pertaining to a sealed epoch is immediately ignored. An epoch is sealed when one of the following three things occurs. Either the epoch has reached a certain number of blocks, it has been open for a certain amount of time, or there is at least one count of a validator misbehaving, for example by trying to double sign a block. This all combined together means that a node is only really concerned with building its own order of events using the events that have been sent from other nodes. This means that the network essentially uses context to reach consensus rather than voting. This does, however, raise a question. What if all nodes on the network have a different order of events? Or there's a 50-50 split between two correct answers? Well, in that case, the node with the highest staked amount is taken as being more correct, due to the fact that they have more to lose if they misbehave. However, this can have some unintended side effects, which I'll go into in my concerns section at the end. Staking on Fantom is just like any other delegated or nominated proof of stake chain, where you take your stake and you delegate it to one of the validators on the network to make decisions for you. This is all baked into the Fantom website and even has support for MetaMask or Ledger wallets. But now to my concerns. In terms of the validators, when you look at the token distribution and therefore the decision-making power of those validators, 6 of them all have over 100 million FTM staked through them. This means that just 6 validators contain 60% of the entire staked value on the Fantom network. A similar situation to this actually led to a network halt last year, where the 2 biggest validators slowed down sending out events and caused the network to halt. And unless this is ironed out, this is a major concern for me and should be a major concern for anyone else wanting to use the Fantom network, because 6 validators are easily corruptible, and that would give you majority control over the network. And as I mentioned earlier, I do have a small concern regarding their claim of solving the blockchain trilemma. If you're in the camp that more nodes equals more decentralized, then an argument that's used against Sol quite frequently could also be applied to Fantom, and that's its high bar of entry. For Sol, its requirements are hardware-based, but for Fantom, it's actually stake-based, which currently is far too high. Currently, to run a validator node on Fantom, you need to stake at least 1 million FTM. This is $440,000 to run a node. While this is certainly a contributing factor to Fantom's high throughput, it is a worrying statistic when you consider how much money could be locked behind DeFi contracts on Fantom, and the fact that all 53 of these validators could fit on a standard-sized coach. In my opinion, this needs to be lowered to a point where it's still a deterrent for malicious behavior, but not so steep that it's unobtainable for most users. Doing a basic comparison, to run a validator node on Ethereum will require 32 Ethereum, which at the current price is just over $100,000. However, with Ethereum being 300 times bigger than Fantom, there is more appeal to start a validator node on Ethereum than there is on Fantom. So let's scale up Fantom to the same market cap as Ethereum. Well, now 1 FTM is worth $149, which means that to start a validator node is just $149 million, which is just an insane amount. This figure will likely be reevaluated as the price of the FTM increases, and I'm just taking this from a Reddit post I found, there does seem to be talks of reducing this figure to 500,000 FTM instead. But this is still $220,000. And to be honest, for a chain like Fantom, which is still hovering around the $1 billion market cap area, this is a huge figure to put up for this chain, and will only attract those seriously dedicated to it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave me a like down below, and leave me a comment telling me what you think about Fantom. I'll also pin a comment down there. If you want to suggest any coins that you'd like to see me do a deep dive on, please leave a reply on that comment down below. And if you generally enjoy my content, please consider subscribing. Thanks, bye.